What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including AEW stars interested in WWE return, major changes coming to Summerslam, Vince McMahon forfeits millions, a Summerslam match is cancelled, a WrestleMania 40 venue announced, is Titus O'Neil secretly retired, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out Wrestlelamia.co.uk and our non-wrestling channel, Incredible. And now let's hit the intro and get straight into our first story. Now first story looks at AEW stars interested in a WWE return. Atop today's news are former WWE superstars working in AEW contemplating a return to Titanland following Vince McMahon's retirement. Well, more to the point, could Triple H's new position as head of the WWE's creative department and his appointment as EVP of Talent Relations lead to former WWE wrestlers returning and current stars staying in WWE rather than going somewhere else? Well, the New York Post thinks Triple H's current role could change things. They noted Triple H's strong relationship with many wrestlers who worked in NXT, a number who went on to have successful WWE careers on the main roster. Many of the NXT stars will call him Papa H, signaling a father figure-like bond, something McMahon often had with his top stars in the 80s and 90s. A very large portion of the WWE's current roster also comes through the NXT system that Levesque held. This means that there is likely a different level of trust, loyalty and bond there that wouldn't be in place with the former head of talent relations John Laurinaitis or even McMahon himself. The New York Post argued that the close bond with Helmsley could keep stars around and lead to others returning. It may make it even harder for some talent to want to leave when they have the chance. Maybe he can even mend some fences and bring Sasha Banks and Naomi back into the field. A New York Post columnist's arguments make sense, as do his observation that the free agency market is going to be different if Triple H can show the WWE is no longer stifled by one man's vision. They argued the company is no longer playing for an audience of one and McMahon. He so often needed to put his own stamp on a performer, and it was believed that if he didn't get you or see a star, he would keep someone in the mid-card or worse, catering. If you're too small or can talk really well, you may be viewed as just a manager or a mouthpiece. But the big question is whether Triple H will give the same kind of wrestlers he pushed on NXT the same opportunities on the main roster. While the current school of thought seems to be that Helmsley will push talented workers like say Shinsuke Nakamura or Finn Balor more than McMahon did, this remains to be seen. But Nakamura and Balor are just examples for the sake of argument. If Triple H changes the WWE's focus to matches featuring talented workers rather than just big men, it'll be interesting to see how the fans respond. I would argue that Triple H won't make any major changes yet until the WWE's business situation, i.e. the stock, stabilizes. If the fans respond well to any changes, the case can be made that the WWE will be seen as the place to work. What do you guys think? Will Triple H change the WWE's approach to booking? If so, how will fans respond? Next up, a SummerSlam match is cancelled. A major SummerSlam match is off, as today WWE announced that Riddle has suffered an injury and his match versus Seth Rollins has been cancelled. WWE stated that as first reported on WWE's The Bump, Seth freaking Rollins injured Riddle with a vicious attack on Raw that resulted in a brachial plexus injury, a stinger which caused significant weakness. As of now, Riddle is medically disqualified until full strength returns. Due to this injury, Riddle's match against the Visionary at SummerSlam has been postponed. And there are rumors that Rollins will now face a mystery opponent at the event similar to WrestleMania just a few months prior. Now, according to Fightful Select, Riddle's injury is a kayfabe injury, and the match change simply comes down to just creative adjustments. What do you guys think of the match being cancelled? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, major changes to SummerSlam. Now, is Triple H interested in making a creative splash at SummerSlam? Well, that's a report coming from WrestleVotes, which tweeted, with SummerSlam being his real first show in total control, sources say Triple H would like to make a creative splash at the event. However, only if it makes sense. Won't just do something to do it. How about that change of pace already? As we recently discussed, word has it that last night's Raw, which Wrestling News reports fared well in the ratings, was actually written by Vince McMahon last week. However, while Vince reportedly wrote the script, Triple H put his own spin on things, effectively executing as he saw fit. Based on the WrestleVotes report, Triple H is maintaining what appears to be the WWE's policy avoiding abrupt changes, whether it's in Titan Tower or on the air. Nonetheless, it has to be exciting and a bit daunting for Helmsley as he gets the opportunity to put his stamp on the WWE product. Even better, it's not just any product, but one of the WWE's big four pay-per-views, SummerSlam. Fans will be watching several matches closely, including Liv Morgan's SmackDown Women's Championship defense against Ronda Rousey, to see if Morgan's unexpected championship reign continues. The Usos versus the Street Profits match is important because a loss by the Profits would suggest the team is on the way to splitting up, a possibility which has received mixed reactions from fans. Finally, the Roman Reigns vs Brock Lesnar Last Man Standing match is full of political intrigue as to whether Reigns' extended title run will continue. Do you think Triple H will pull off any major moves for SummerSlam? If so, what might they be? Next up, Vince McMahon forfeits millions. Vince McMahon has forfeited a number of stock shares, but why? According to a new Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) filing, Vince gave up a number of shares. WrestleTalk reported McMahon has disposed of 38,519 shares of WWE stock at $0. Based on the closing market price on July 26, the stocks would have been worth over $2.6 million. The SEC filing detailed the stock forfeiting, noting it consists of a portion of uninvested stock units previously reported in Table 1, which were forfeited by Mr. McMahon in connection with his retirement from the company effective July 22, 2022. And furthermore, the forfeiture excludes 100 shares of Class A common stock owned individually by Mr. McMahon's wife, Linda McMahon. Mr. McMahon disclaims beneficial ownership of those shares. Now, according to the financial site The Balance, forfeit shares are shares that are cancelled by the issuing company when the shareholder doesn't meet the certain requirements or restrictions. In this case, Vince may have had to forfeit the stocks as he's no longer the CEO and chairman of the board. Now, although Vinnie Mac gave up his stock, Vince still owns 69,157 shares of stock. Next up, could Raw revert back to 2 hours? Could Raw revert back to a 2-hour show after several years as a 3-hour program? Well, that's a possibility based on comments Triple H made some time back during an appearance on Steve Austin's Broken Skull sessions. There, Hunter said if he could alter any one thing about Raw, he'd change it back to a 2-hour show. The game noted the problems of producing 3 hours of television, a complaint fans have had as long as Raw has been 3 hours. Raw began as a 1-hour show but added an hour in 1997 as the Monday Night War raged and the WWF competed with WCW for supremacy in the wrestling industry. In 2012, Raw expanded to 3 hours, reportedly because the USA Network wanted to capitalize on the WWE's stronger ratings and use the extra hour to help pad USA's overall ratings. Now, although Raw's ratings have declined, it still ranks number 1 in cable on Mondays, and you can be certain the USA Network would be reluctant to give up the third hour. Do you think cutting Raw back to 2 hours would help the product? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, CM Punk talks AJ Lee stepping out of retirement. As CM Punk's wife AJ Mendez, aka former superstar AJ Lee, ever returning to the squared circle? Well, fans have been asking this since Mendez retired in 2015. While she's currently busy as the executive producer of Women of Wrestling, Punk recently talked about who his wife might face if she were to return. Sometimes she'll be like, "Tell me when the girls are on." She's a big fan of Jade Cargill. I think women like Jade and Britt Baker especially, if she's ever going to want to wrestle, I think they're the ones that can draw her in based on looks and ability and work. Jade Cargill has quickly become one of AEW's top female stars, while Britt Baker is arguably the best female performer in All Elite Wrestling. Would you guys like to see AJ return to the ring? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, WrestleMania XL venue announced. It's big news for the WWE Universe as they have announced WrestleMania 40's location. According to WrestleNomics, the WWE announced that WWE announces Philadelphia will host WrestleMania 40 on April 6th and April 7th, 2024 at Lincoln Financial Field. The adjacent Raw, SmackDown and Hall of Fame event take place at the Wells Fargo Center. This will mark the second time WWE has ran a WrestleMania in Philadelphia, as it last ran one in 1999 when the first Union Center hosted WrestleMania 15. And finally, has Titus O'Neil secretly retired? And last but not least, has WWE superstar Titus O'Neil secretly retired from wrestling? Well, O'Neil, who currently works as a global ambassador for the WWE, recently appeared on Raw to give a pep talk about what a wonderful place the WWE is to work in, a promo some critics have lambasted as tone deaf in light of Vince McMahon's hush money scandal. However, what of his career? Well, the winner of the 2020 Warrior Award recently spoke with Fightful Select, and they reported Titus has not retired and fully plans to return to the ring one day. He hasn't put a timetable on a return, but he said that he will discuss it with WWE when he feels the time is right, but it will happen. there you have it, folks, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.